Hello everyone. Welcome to a new installment of Am I the Asshole? If you like hearing Reddit tales, it would really support the channel if you could give us a like or subscribe. Let's dive straight into our first story. Am I the asshole for refusing to sign my neighbor's use of yard waiver? Last Thursday, my neighbors approached my wife regarding a use of yard waiver, since they don't have the clearance to move excavators and bobcats to their backyard to build a pool. The waiver states they need 10 feet of clearance. 4 feet would be into our yard based on my measurements, and they would repair the grass to its original state. I have an irrigation system and internet lines which run beneath the area which would be used. The neighbors were leaving for FL and asked for a 48-hour turnaround. I spoke to the pool company on Friday, and the PM said they need 10 to 12 feet, and they need the waiver because there is a good chance the ground will be totally torn up. It was my wife's 30th birthday this weekend, so this situation was not top of mind. But my neighbor knocks on the door Saturday afternoon asking for a response. I kindly explain I am not comfortable signing the current waiver given the typos, lack of notarization, and ambiguities regarding repairs. He takes it personally and storms out of the house complaining about how much money he is going to lose. Today, the project manager from the pool company knocks on our door asking what they can do to resolve this. I told him I really don't want my yard torn up, but at minimum a new waiver needs drafted, and I would consider it. He then says we have an electrical easement which runs 1.5 feet into our yard in the exact spot he wants to use, and would just call for access. I check my plat design and deed to see there is not any easement running through the area they need. He leaves, and the situation is still up in the air. Edit. Thanks everyone for your input. I had run this situation by many friends and colleagues, and the answers were consistently no, unless you can get outrageous stipulations, and even so, it's still a risk. At the end of the day, I don't want to be dealing with the pool contractor or neighbor to return my yard and irrigation to its original state. Not the asshole. Putting in a pool is not some kind of emergency. They have the luxury of time to do their research before and didn't. You don't owe them the risk of destroying your property and putting your lines from different services at risk so they can go swimming. The nail in the coffin was the lie about the easement. Project manager said they neighbors have known about this for months and just forgot to bring it over to us until he reminded them. They do have the other side of their house, but their driveway would be ruined, and they still need a use of yard waiver from the other side neighbor. Sounds like they're getting a new driveway and waiver signed from the other neighbors. Hopefully the other neighbor doesn't have lines running in the ground on that side. That would make it less risky. I can see why the project manager would be mad. The neighbor is delaying the project and wasting their time. But that doesn't excuse his lies about the easement, unless the neighbor lied to him and he just believed it. Not the asshole. Right now, your neighbor has a problem. If the contractor digs up your yard, causes damage, disturbs something, fails to restore your yard, or takes 3 months to do the work, then you both have a problem. The document, as you've described it, doesn't address liability or how disputes will be resolved. There is no upside to you signing this unless you have a particularly close relationship that you want to maintain with the neighbor. The pressure to sign this quickly is not a good sign. We have only briefly chatted with them when they moved in. We are early 30s and they are 65 plus, so I think they thought we would be pushovers. Am I the asshole for ruining my family's New Year's Eve by refusing to join the fun because I didn't want to be the DD again? Hey Reddit, I, 26 female, need some serious perspective. I'm starting to think I might be the asshole, but I still feel like I'm in the right, lol. Every New Year's Eve, my family has a big party at my aunt and uncle's house, and every year, without fail, I end up being the DD. Don't get me wrong, I love my family, but it's starting to bug me. It's been like this since I was 19, even before I was legally allowed to drink. I don't drink much, maybe a glass of wine or a beer, but I don't get plastered. I'm fine with driving people home if they need it, but for the past few years, everyone expects me to not drink so I can drive them back. Every year it's the same. Oh, can you drive? You're not drinking anyway. I always say yes, because I don't want to let anyone down. Fast forward to this year's New Year's Eve. I told my family ahead of time I wasn't going to be the DD anymore. I just wanted to enjoy the night, have a couple of drinks, and not be responsible for getting everyone home. I even told my cousin, who usually gets really sloshed, that I wasn't driving this year, and she was fine with it. When I got to the party, it was the usual chaos. People were drinking, laughing, and having a good time. I was enjoying myself. But around 11, my cousin came over and asked if I was ready to drive everyone home. I reminded her, I'm not driving tonight. I'm here to enjoy the party. She looked at me like I was crazy and said, come on, you always drive. Don't be a bitch. Which, like, what the fuck? I tried to explain calmly that I wasn't being a bitch, just that I wasn't going to be the chauffeur anymore. Then, my aunt overheard and pulled me aside. She lectured me, saying, we all agreed last year you'd be driving. You know how much we rely on you. Everyone else is too tipsy and Ubering is so unsafe. Just drive this one time for the family. I felt a ton of pressure, but refused. I told her I'm not their chauffeur and wasn't going to do it again, just because no one else could figure out their own ride. My aunt got upset, saying I was being selfish and that we're family. She said, I'm the only one who doesn't get too drunk, so it makes sense for me to help out. I told her I had already had 3 beers, so I wasn't even legally supposed to drive myself. That's when I snapped. I told them it's not my job to be their DD every year, just because I'm the only one who doesn't get blackout drunk. They needed to figure out their own rides this time. Then I got up and left. I felt bad walking out, but I didn't want to be a doormat anymore. I spent the rest of New Year's Eve at home, watching Netflix and eating leftover pasta with my boyfriend. My family texted me, calling me dramatic, selfish, and saying I ruined the night. They said I was being super sensitive and that everyone was disappointed in me. Everyone's demanding an apology out of me even now. And by the way, I got home perfectly safe by Uber. But anyways, Reddit, am I the asshole? You are not the asshole. Your family is gross. But why didn't your boyfriend spend NYE with you? He's a nurse and had a shift that cut into the party. He could have potentially come, but he was exhausted and wanted to go straight home and take a shower while he waited for me to get back. Another reason I didn't want to be the DD. I didn't want to stay out too late because I wanted to see my boyfriend. Well, I agree wholeheartedly with the Redditor who said you should spend NYE someplace else. What you auntie did was incredibly entitled and disrespectful. Clearly, you did not agree to be the driver. She and your other drunk relatives decided that you would be the driver. If you're going to celebrate NYE with them in the future, you need to cut the cord and be absent for a few years so that they can figure out how to handle this without you and without treating you like their paid chauffeur. Is this a joke? If they have to Uber home, it ruins their NYE. But if you have to watch everyone get drunk while you drink soda, and then you have to drive everyone home, then your NYE is fine? None of these self-centered people figured out that having to be the DD to your entire family every single NYE is probably not that much fun for you? Of course, you are not the asshole. Did you even have to ask? This is rage bait, girl. I'm sorry for the rage bait my family, parents specifically, were starting to get to me. My mom refuses to speak to me until I send an apology text, and I honestly started to feel a little childish. My best friend is obsessed with Reddit, and she thought writing this would be a good idea for me to get advice from someone who isn't biased like my friends or boyfriend. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.